I'm Samantha, and I am a graduate from Bridgehouse. I'm a sucker for like deep conversations and like, I don't know, I'm very spiritual, not like religious, but spiritual. So I have like a really good intuition. I just want to help people feel safe and like heard, you know, not alone. I love my cat and my kids. I like to be outside in the sunlight, even if it is 100 degrees. Whenever I was 11 months old, my mother was murdered. And then they put us with my dad, who was like not good. He did like a lot of drugs and criminal activities and stuff. And so there was really nobody there until like they put us in foster care and like all that. So just lots of years without stability or safety or even connection or even acknowledgement, you know. Well, my mom's parents, which would be my maternal grandparents, they came in whenever I was in foster care and adopted us out of like nowhere. But even though they adopted us, being my sister and myself, my sister's 3 years older than me, but even though they adopted us, they favored her and didn't particularly like enjoy me, if that makes sense, you know, which I never understood. When I was 15, I got kicked out of my house, out of my grandparents' house. And they ended up signing me into a homeless shelter. So it was like, you know, I would spend a certain amount there and then I'd have to go somewhere else, which would be like outside or some random person's house or whatever along the way. When I was 19, I got married. We ended up splitting up because he chased me with a hammer, and, you know, my daughter was like 7 months old at that time. And so long story short, I went to a domestic violence shelter, but I had my daughter with me, but he filed for a divorce and I didn't know that, and they ended up giving him full custody. So whenever I started using, I had just had to give my only child at the time, which I found out I was pregnant shortly after that again. And then I told my grandparents, same grandparents that adopted me and didn't want me, and then they were like, made me get an abortion. I mean, they didn't make me because I was an adult, right? But like in my vulnerable state that I was in already, you know what I'm saying? They pretty much convinced me and then paid for it. And so they were like, yeah, we'll be here for you. And they weren't. Like they didn't call me at all. And so I just ended up going out and finding the first person I thought did meth, and I did it. I just went and got high. I was waiting for anybody to call me because they knew, you know, I was already very suicidal. And everything else that I tried for is gone. And they're not calling me, and they don't care if I'm dead, you know. And all I need is support or a hug, you know. And at that point, I'd already been in like 22 programs, you know what I'm saying, in different states and different cities and everything else. And it's just like not a life, you know. I was just homeless and didn't have anywhere to live. And it was like months went by and it was like negative 14 degrees and I was in the outpatient. So after jail, I got into the outpatient groups at CKF on Zoom. They kept telling me about Bridgehouse and I was like, yeah, but the wait list is so long, or yeah, but you know, I'm 4.5 hours away, you know, like, is there not any programs closer? Eventually, like, I think it was on one of the colder days, I think Mindy told me, she was like, I'm gonna see what I can do. We're gonna try to get you in a Bridgehouse, and they did. And they came up to get me. That was really cool. I came to Bridgehouse in Salina January 30th, 24. Well, I've pretty much seen some pretty messed up shit. Sorry, but it's true. And I figured out who I didn't want to be. I figured out what I didn't want to see. I would not just go days without doing something for the betterment of myself, whether that's getting up on time or making my bed every day. They do help a lot with trauma recovery. That is one of my favorite things about that program, about Bridgehouse, because like it invests a lot of energy and a lot of care and a lot of love and a lot of time, you know, just because they want to see a better community. They want to see people heal through that, because nobody deserves to sit there and feel like they're gonna die because they hurt so bad. And it, at first, for me, what it did was make me very angry, because I didn't know who I was without all the feelings that went with those things, right? Like, I deserve to feel this way, but that was doing myself a huge disservice, because I was like holding on to all the things, you know. It's easy to get caught up in the I wish my kids could come now, you know, but I don't do that to myself, because I've been down that road. I've learned that you know, at least while I was there, that those life-altering moments that are feeling like they're never gonna go away and they hurt so bad, like, they won't go away, but every day is gonna get easier if you just hold some grace for yourself, you know, have some compassion for yourself, maybe make sure you're surrounded by people, maybe, you know, reach out to them because they do care, they will answer, you know, email, call, whatever, and just face it for what it is, because the second that you accept something for what it is, like, it gives you room to heal. And I've come to the realization that a lot of the things that I went through were not my fault, right? But it is my job to choose how I'm going to move forward from those things. I still don't know where I want to be at in my life, but I know that I'm way further now than I was a year ago, like this time last year. I moved into my first place ever by myself without it being like a program. I mean, I'm still on Section 8, but like, I'm paying the rent and I'm on the lease. Like, I signed an actual lease, and that never happened before. So that's pretty exciting. And I got my cat that my best friend was taking care of for me while I got my stuff together. And I just feel like, I don't know, I'm happy to actually be a person now, you know. I would say it's 50-50 me and Bridgehouse. I think we both did the work, you know, but I think that if you do the work, they'll work with you and they'll teach you the things you need to know. I never would have ever thought I was going to be this, like, aware of who I am and, like, proud of myself and love myself how I am.